They're trickling in.
Good evening, everybody.
Beautiful raindrops.
How are we doing? Did you enjoy your dinner? You guys like the food here?
Yeah, the food's been great.
It's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, it's great, actually. Yeah. So David, I call him David. David, which means beloved, he's the owner of the catering company, so be sure you tell him. He's a sweetheart, too. Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So the cafe is open again tonight. So if anybody wants to head over there and hang out after the program, they'll be open as long as we chill out over there with them. And also the bookstore is open tomorrow from 11:30 to 1:30. So they're opening tomorrow, and Thursday from noon to 5. So they're opening just for us. So if you want to get some good village swag, that's your opportunity, right? So hopefully the weather will be nice enough that we can go outside for the meditation. How was it this morning, Joy? Yeah? Joy does a great job leading meditation, does she? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm going to suggest, since it's so cool right now,
It is?
we were just talking about having meditation in here tomorrow morning, because it's going to be very cool. Are you disappointed? Are you okay with that? Okay, let's meet in here at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning then.
Great.
Hopefully the next day will be warmer.
Yeah, with my jam jams.
I don't care.
We're continuing our theme of love. I feel like I've been here all week, and this is like the first full day. Said I've got the power of love in my soul. I've got the power of love in my soul.
In my soul.
I've got the power of love, God's healing power of love. I got the power of love in my soul. Let's do that again. Said I got the power of love in my soul. I've got the power of love in my soul. I've got the power of love, God's healing power of love. I got the power of love in my soul. Said in my soul, in my soul, in my soul, in my soul. I've got the power of love in my soul. So I've got the power of love in my soul. I've got the power of love, God's healing power of love. I've got the power of love in my soul. I said in my soul, in my of love in my soul. In my soul.
Thank you very much.
In that infinite presence, that love that is beyond naming, life itself, the creative impulse in which I live and move and have my very being. I am one with this infinite life, infinite love, and infinite presence. I speak this word now to expand my consciousness, to expand my capacity to love and to receive love, to expand my capacity to understand, to expand my depth and breadth, and to realize that this oneness is ever and ever and ever expanding in my soul, in my being, in my consciousness. I accept right now a movement and an activity in my soul that calls me forward beyond any place I've ever been before, and I accept and demand right now that transformation deep within me and evidenced all around me, and I am grateful for it. I vibrate with gratitude. I live gratitude. I am gratitude as I release my word of power and my word of creation and my word of law right now. And so it is.
So take a deep, full breath right into your heart. And let's spend a few moments in stillness, just breathing, being here now.
I wanna give words to this. Anything you have to interpret will only eclipse the heart of it. I just wanna send it in sound with a wavelength clarity. Ooh, nothing I could ever say will resonate the same way that this love does in me. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Somewhere in the beat of your heart, there I am. Somewhere underneath all the war-torn believing, there you have always been. Something like a melody, it's something like a song, and it sings itself and it's never wrong. Oh, everywhere it plays for me, it's always on repeat. It's the love song of
not just there in my body. It's not just there in the thoughts that I think. It's there in the roots, in the skies, in the seas, in the eyelids, the irises, the wind, in the wings, in the will be, the ever was, the reason, and the just because. I am the song that I sing. Inhale, exhale.
Jesse Powers, everyone. Jerry. While Dr. Jerry's coming forward, just want to remind you that Christy and Jesse have music available on their table back there. And Jesse just got a whole thing of flash drives today, so they're ready to send you home with some of their music. And just want to introduce my buddy, Reverend Dr. Jerry Troyer, is going to share about a special project that he's involved in.
Thank you so much for this. Good evening, everybody. Okay, a warning, I've got a microphone, look out. So there's probably, he's not kidding, right? So there's probably unhoused people in your community. I live in San Diego and we have a lot of unhoused people. And we have a lot of people, unhoused people that we don't always see who are between the ages of 18 and 24. We call them transition age youth. They've aged out of foster care and had no place to go. They've been rejected by their family. They were in an abusive situation and for whatever reason just had to leave the home and had no home to stay in. But what if we could work with these young people, get them off the streets and into transitional housing, into employment, into trade school, into college, so that they can recognize that their past need not determine their future. So 13 years ago, I was blessed enough to be part of the founding of this organization called Urban Street Angels. We started as an outreach of a church in San Diego and with a couple of youth couch surfing, and then got a house and another house and another house. And tonight, more than 220 homeless young people have a warm and safe place to sleep in San Diego because of one of our programs. So when we first started, we wanted to create a work for the youth to do because this is transitional housing, so you need to be doing something to help yourself along. And so what we came up with is a bar soap business. So the youth could apply, so these are life skills. So they apply for the job, do the interview, get hired, show up to work every day, get paid, and we get to teach them about money and other life skills. So we did this program for several years, and the beginning of last year, we're able to create an agreement with the San Diego Padres baseball club where they would help us fund a trade school program. And this year, it was just announced about a month ago, we have expanded that so that more than 100 youth in our programs will have the opportunity to go to a trade school and become a CNA or an EMT or an FAA drone pilot or a cosmetologist or maybe a baseball player. So we're getting out of the soap business. And so as you leave tonight, if you take a deep breath, you will smell this wonderful bar soap that our youth over time have been creating. So I'm at the back table with this bar soap. And you'll notice on the back of each box, there's a signature panel. And you can see who the youth was that created this soap. So when you buy, they're $8, the bars are $8 a piece, or 3 for $20, or a gift box with 4 bars of soap and 2 soap dishes. When you buy soap from me tonight or before Friday, every nickel you spend goes to help fund our programs to get more youth off the streets. So I look forward, yes, Lisa. If you wish, twist my arm, yes. It is the most amazing program. As you can tell, I am very, very engaged in it, and it always touches my heart. Thanks you guys so much for listening. Dale, thank you so much for that.
Wait, stop. Take the microphone back just for a minute. Please tell everyone the short version of how you started Socks and Water. I mean, it's like here.
If you insist. So this started as an outreach of a Disciples of Christ church in the North Park area of San Diego. And the senior pastor of that church, one of their ministries was to go out to Ocean Beach, which is an area of San Diego, and give out sack lunches and socks. And so one day, Eric Lovett is our founder's name. And one day Eric was talking with this young man, and he said, well, I appreciate the food, but what I really need is a place to sleep. So Eric opened his apartment and allowed 2 young people to couch surf, but also started creating a 501c3 nonprofit organization separate from what the church was doing so that he could qualify for government grants and other financial opportunities. Right at this same time that he was preparing this 501c3 filing, my church was looking for a nonprofit to support. And as divine connection would have it, because I don't believe in coincidences, we found Eric. And so I'm a founding board member. We met, we became fast friends. I'm a founding board member. I've been around ever since. And we've gone from not having 2 dimes to rub together to a budget this year of $6.5 million. Thank you. It's a pretty amazing history, and our goal is to be completely out of business with no more transition age youth in San Diego needing housing. Please know with me that that is possible. Thanks you all so much. Up.
Would you be open to an additional goal of creating a template for other cities to do?
We can do this. We can do this in Charlotte. We can do this in Milwaukee. We can do this in Savannah. We can do this in Chicago. We can do this everywhere. Absolutely.
Because a lot of foster parents, once the kids hit 18, they're not, no check, no love.
Right. Yeah, that's a big part of this. Yes. Yep. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. I'm sure he'll be willing to talk to you more about how to start in your area if you want to sit with him at lunch or dinner or something, right, Jerry? So, absolutely. So be sure to visit the tables on your way out. Our presider tonight is the founder of Chauvel and More and the Gold Rush Women's Conference that just celebrated their 20th anniversary. Is that right? Absolutely. She's also minister at Christ Universal Temple in Chicago, and she is the first vice president of the International New Thought Alliance. Please help me welcome the Reverend Dr. Jacqueline Trish Atkins.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. And I'm his friend too, because he got that real good. This is a good night. It's a good night. And I want to know, have you been bumping into it all day long? You know what you've been bumping into? You've been bumping into love. Everywhere you walk, because it's written and I believe that God is love. And God, you tell me, is everywhere evenly present, right? Is that correct? So you have been, and if you haven't felt it, you gotta wake up. That's what we were told yesterday. You just gotta wake. Reverend Sheila said, wake it up. And where is that other lady? That lady back there says, what was the statement? Get at it, because love is all around you, waiting to be felt and waiting to embrace you. So good evening. This is Love Night. And before it's all over, you're going to hear some awesome kind of discussions about love. And at the very end, you're going to hear the truth that love is your superpower. That's what it is. Love is your superpower. So I have the pleasure right now of introducing the first speaker tonight, and that's the Reverend Carla McClellan, Reverend Coach Carla. And she's helped hundreds of people over the last 20 years. She's an ordained unity minister. She's certified life Enneagram coach and a compelling speaker, which we'll hear. Carla's teachings center on spiritual principles and awakening people to who they truly are and tapping into their deepest potential. She believes there is a set of guidelines and practices and principles that unlock the happiness and success each person desires. Carla uses coaching and teaching models, and I guess a little prayer in there, a little bit, that center on helping clients realize their own answers. Funny, energetic, and passionate about life, Carla is here to move you past your stuckness through deep listening and asking you powerful questions. She firmly believes everyone comes home to themselves by vulnerably knowing themselves first, and then taking courageous action. They're getting at it at that point. Anything is possible when we open ourselves to the spirit within us. Carla loves supporting churches and ministers moving forward through the uncertainty of the material world. She is a coach, a consultant, and transitional specialist with Unity Worldwide Ministries. She has been in Unity for over 50 plus years. Shh. No, we want every year, every day. That's exactly right. And she was blessed with having both parents. That must have been really cool, to be Unity ministers. Put your hands together for Reverend Carla.
Hello, friends. You heard a little bit about what my passions are, but my life purpose really is working with people and churches, ministers going through transitions. Would it be okay with you if life got easier? I know for me, as a minister, when I first started out, that was important for me to recognize that I was making it harder than it needed to be. Reverend Dale over there helped me start out at my first ministry. In fact, he was in an SEE class the first time I met him. And he's been my angel ever since. Reverend Christy, I just adore and love her family. I love being a part of it. Let's see, Reverend Ricky and Martha Creek. Martha, I always got to get a blow to you in order to shift my consciousness. I'm telling you, you know what did it? It really does. It really does. So growing up with Unity ministers was really interesting. You know, and people say, oh, how blessed you were. It's still a family system dynamic, you know. One of the things I noticed about New Thought was they were really good at the capital T truth, the principles that made life practical. But they weren't so hot on telling the little t truth, the facts, kind of muffed over those, you know. Why would we want to bring that up? That's negative. So when people say, oh, I don't do denials because that brings up the negative, I go, you're missing the whole point. You're missing the whole point of what this movement is all about. It's ancient wisdom and you catching a new thought about it. So when I started at Unity of Independence. When I first started, first 6 months of my ministry, real quick, my mother died. My brother Mark died 4 months later. And my daughter Paula died 2 months after that at 27. My first 6 months of ministry. What's the game plan here, God? I need some coaching. What's going on here? And I heard my dad's voice in my ear say, prove the principles or don't use them anymore. Okay, Daddy. All right, so you think I have enough resilience to stand here in front of people and preach what I believe is the truth and go through this absolute horrific experience of my worst fear of losing a child. And my life has never been the same. So with them, I wondered, well, what's my ministry going to be? You know, I got what theirs was. My mother was a teacher, and she was an interim minister. So I was bred for this position of transitional ministry. And my dad ran World Unity retreats, and so there were pretty powerful people in Unity back in their day. What I realized my ministry was being authentically present to it all. The good, the not so good, the scary, and that we have a way through if we remember three things. If you take nothing else from my talk, take these three things. Dare to be brave. Nothing is ever transformed by being safe or comfortable. There's no spiritual literature that'll say, oh no, you're to stay in your chair and you're just to pray. No, you pray and you move your feet. You act from your core beliefs. So dare to be brave. Laugh loudly. Right, Martha? Let's belly laugh because our body needs it. We need to laugh more than ever. In the chaos, in the uncertainty, in the pressures of standing as a non-anxious presence in front of congregations that want to know, what are you going to do for me now? What are you going to do for me? So, the last thing that I say is to love lavishly. This world needs lavish love. Don't you agree? If we follow the path of love, then we dare to be brave because we're from our heart, our courageous heart. We can still be afraid, but dare to be brave. So I'm going to quote a poem here that's been a touchstone of mine for a long time that'll be very familiar to you all. There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer. No disease that enough love will not heal. No door that enough love will not open. No gulf that enough love will not bridge. No wall that enough love will not throw down. No sin that enough love will not redeem. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble. How hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. If only you could love enough, you would be the happiest and most powerful being in the world. Thank you, Emmett Fox, for that. I read that poem when I was a teenager, and that was a touchstone for me moving forward. So in this whole time of starting ministry, wondering what is my ministry, allowing it to grow me into what I longed to be known for. I longed to be loved in action. I love to love lavishly, without condition. Doesn't mean I love being a doormat. Doesn't mean that at all. But it means that I can always behold the Christ first in myself. I can get there. Thank you, Martha Creek, for speaking truth for these years. That we can acknowledge the fact that we don't have enough money. Doesn't mean we're lacking. We don't have enough money to pay ministers maybe what they're worth, or even a living wage. But we're not up there. We're going to find a way through. We're going to do what beautiful Jerry's done in San Diego. We're going to do the impossible. And I know Reverend Randy Fricky is doing it for here, Kansas City. And I'm so amazed and impressed with his courage in standing forth, in going through what he had to go through to get ordained, baby. We don't make it easy for the great ones. We don't make it easy. So just know how great you are. So when I was asked to do this on love, I thought, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I'm in Venice, Florida right now, and so I get to come home and go to this conference and talk about my favorite subject, which is love. And guess what happened? Life. Life happened. 2 weeks before I came, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, my surviving daughter. And so I thought, all right, we're going to revisit this, but I'm going to do it differently than I did it the first time. I'm going to stand in unshakable faith with my daughter as we go through this. And I'm going to invite every congregation I stand before to join me in prayer, and knowing nothing limits her wholeness. And she is strong enough and courageous enough and compassionate enough to make it through whatever they say is hers to do. So Monday, she goes through surgery, and we go see the oncologist tomorrow. And I'm so grateful that I'm a part of a transformational movement that lets me know no matter what the circumstance, no matter what the condition is, there is a way through. And that way through is going to be brave, laughing, because your body needs you to laugh and open up and surrender, right? Music does that so beautifully for us, but so does laughter. It's why Martha Creek can get away with saying the things she does. I'm picking on you, Martha. Amen, baby. Amen. I'm not shutting up now. So we are here to bring it. We are the ones, definitely, because we're here. We're here, and we're not here to be quiet. We're not here to hide who we are. We're not here to be safe and comfortable. We're here to risk it all in the name of love. God is love. Love heals all things, Emmett Fox says so beautifully. In his spiritual approach, love is not just an emotion. It's a healing power. It is a divine force. A way of seeing beyond fear, resentment, illness, separation, and lack. For often when we shift from judgment, anxiety, and grievance into love, we open the way for healing, don't we? You can just feel it. You can just feel your heart open. So love heals what fear has wounded. It restores what anger has hardened. It opens what pain has closed. It reminds us that nothing real can be separated from God. Not because love ignores pain, but because love transforms pain. Not because love denies difficulty, but because love meets it with the presence of God. Where love is invited, healing begins. And after about 35 texts from Unity of Venice today, I am so glad I'm here talking about loving lavishly, because I'm going to go home and pour it all over them. Churches we're struggling with the uncertainty, when the chaos. What's next? What's now? Presence is now. When we are present to what is happening, what is going on around us, when we're authentically present and not just flapping our jaws, when we're in the stream of life fully, amazing things begin to happen. What if love was never meant to be measured? Remember when we're young and we envisioned Prince Charming, or maybe I did back in the Stone Ages before, right when I got out of the cave. We would imagine what Prince Charming would do for us, and then we woke up. Wait a minute. What can I do to be more loving? What can I do so people want to love me? What can I do to be more accepted? What can I say that will bless and heal? What can I deeply listen to in the darkness of somebody's soul growth to know that they will find that light switch, but I can have their back while they're searching for it? And it is a privilege and an honor to be able to walk with people through the darkness of our soul transitions. Because don't you find you don't just do it once? I don't know, maybe you guys are lucky and you can just do it once. It hasn't been my experience, but each time I feel like I've been cracked open, more light has been revealed, and I can love myself just a little bit more. I thought I had to be courageous for everybody, that send me, God, send me. And then I realized I'm pretty short. And there's a lot of stuff people can pile on your shoulders. And my head was bleeding from hitting that brick wall. And I thought, there's got to be another way. There's got to be another way to talk about our principles rather than some, new thought speak. You get what I'm saying, don't you? Some way to touch people's hearts so they awaken to something more than what they're experiencing. And what about if there was a little relief in there? What about if we could laugh a bit? I have faced the hardest times in my life with laughter. My mother had a wicked sense of humor. My dad did too, but my mother said, "You know the greatest thing about dying?" And I said, "Oh, Mom, what's the greatest thing about dying?" "You can eat what you want and you still lose weight." And I thought, talk about a theme throughout life. My daughter Paula ended up towards the end of her life in a wheelchair. So she put on the back of her wheelchair, "Walking is overrated." I love that sense of humor that opens us to greater possibilities. That's what your music does for us. Where's Jesse? You're back there. That was simply beautiful, Jesse. You were right to chastise me for not being at church Sunday. But we're in it together to love lavishly, to show people, not just talk at them or even with them, but to model for them what it's like to be defenseless. My gosh, isn't that a big, big challenge? I think about what I'm going back down to in Venice, I go, really? Why me, Lord? I got a lovely husband. I've got a lovely home. I'm less than 3 miles from Unity Village. What the heck am I doing out preaching that it can be easier? Allowing people to know that love is the way, not hate. We can be on other sides of any issue we want to talk about. But if we've got a common vision, a common goal, something that we're working together towards, we can overcome all that crap. And it is crap. And it is inundating us all the time. So, are you ready to stand in unshakable faith? Are you ready to dare to be brave? Are you ready to laugh loudly? Let's do it together. Right here, right now, from your belly. I want you to laugh. Ha 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 ha! Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Ha! Bring it on! Bring it on! Bring it on! Yes! 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 That's what I'm talking about. Bring it on. I'm showing up. And I'm going to love lavishly, because that is the way through. And in closing tonight, I wanted to read something from Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founder. As we get ready to face Mother's Day, I thought this was a perfect quote. It is my great joy to perceive somewhat of the mother side of God, the divine love that never fails, and that is equal to the drawing of souls to itself. It is my prayer to be able to radiate the qualities of this divine love to all. You, too, are the mother of unity. Because in your heart you have the same ideals, the same great generous spirit, and the endless and tireless service, and the love that never fails. The mother of unity is the universal mother. How happy we are to represent this mother, all of us. Thank you very much.
Think of your fellow man.
Come on now.
him a helping hand.
Put a little love in your heart. Let's hear you.
If you think it's getting late, oh, please don't hesitate.
Put a little love in your heart.
And the world
And the world,
will be a better place. And the world
and the world will be a better place for you and me.
and me.
And me.
You just wait. Wait and
see.
I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide.
Put a little love in your heart. Dance it out, y'all.
If you want the world to know, we won't let hatred grow.
Put a little love in your heart.
And the world
And the world,
will be a better place. And the world
and the world will be a better place for you.
and me.
And me.
You just wait.
Wait and see.
A little love in your heart.
Put a little love in your heart.
Said,
Put a little love in your heart.
come on.
Put a little love in your heart. Please do.
Well, I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide.
Put a little love in your heart.
If you want the world to know, we won't let hatred grow.
Put a little love in your heart.
And the world
And the world,
will be a better place. And the world
and the world will be a better place
for you
for you
and me.
and me.
You just wait.
Wait and see.
Put a little
Love in your heart.
I said, I said, put a little love in your heart. Here we all are, gathered together in this place. Why are we here? What is our purpose? What is God's will? How do we know what's true and what's real? We may not know where life's road may lead, but it doesn't matter long as we believe that God is the answer. Sing it with us, y'all. God is the answer. I said, God is the answer to whatever the question may be. What's going on in this world today? Where do we fit? What can we do to make a difference? What can we say? Where do we go? This way or that way? But if we all pray and truly believe and love one another, we can let the world see that God is the answer. Said God is the answer. I said God is the answer to whatever the question may be. Well, we may not know where life's road may lead, but it doesn't matter long as we believe that God is the answer. I said God is the answer. God is the answer to whatever the question may be.
Right, Reverend Dale Worley.
Do not sell God short, folks. Don't do that. Don't do that. It was. Oh. If you didn't believe God was the answer after that song, something's wrong with you. That God is the answer in all ways, in so many ways, and God is love, so love is the answer, huh? What you think? Okay. I have the pleasure at this point of introducing my friend, my wonderful friend, a wonderful person, Reverend Sandra Campbell. Yeah. Reverend Campbell began studying part-time for the ministry at Unity School in 1994, using some of her vacation time from work to study at Unity Village. After several years, many of the credits she had earned expired. When Unity Urban Ministerial School launched the online program in 2009, she was the first student to enroll and one of the 3 graduates from the online program's first class in 2012, who were ordained by the Worldwide Ministry in 2013. Reverend Sandra currently serves as an associate minister at Unity Temple on the plaza, where she has been a member since 1980. She has also served the Temple Board of Directors as a co-founder and founding president of the Temple Toastmasters Club, taught in the adult and youth education programs, and was a member of the choir. Is that Chancel Choir? That right? Okay. She is an adjunct professor with Webster University and Unity Urban Ministerial School, where she also serves on the board of directors and since March 2018 as executive director of the school. Sandra is a member of Unity World Headquarters Board of Directors. She retired in 2012 for a 42-year career in government. She has served on the boards of several nonprofit organizations, including Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, okay, Tuskegee Airmen and International Black Aerospace Council, and Summer High School Alumni Association. She has received numerous awards and accolades throughout her career and for her dramatic monologues. She writes, produced, and performs a nationally acclaimed PBS televised one-woman show titled Follow Your Dreams, a historical reenactment of the life of Bessie Coleman, the first African-American female to become a licensed airplane pilot. She has also added to her repertoire performances of other known and unknown heroes, she-roles, including Kathy Williams, a female Buffalo soldier, and Fannie Lou Hamer, we need her right now, voter right activist of the 60s. For her significant contributions for preserving American history, Reverend Sandra has been recognized in 2016 with the prestigious Gold Medal Award by the National Association of the Daughters of the American Revolution. Reverend Sandra holds associate's, bachelor's, and master's degree, associate's, bachelor's, and master's degree, and she is an accomplished writer, speaker, storyteller, playwright. She's everything. She's wonderful, too. She's a wonderful woman. Come on up here, Reverend Sandra Campbell.
Well, hello, everyone. You know, people say that you can leave your wallet, you can leave your purse, you can leave your everything, but if you leave your cell phone, you're in trouble. So I did, can you hear me? Closer? I did leave my cell phone, but as a matter of fact, I might have left it on, so I hope it doesn't go off while I'm talking. Probably will. Well, it's wonderful. Hi, Reverend Sheila. I'm good. It's so good to see all of you. I always start with a special prayer, and you can join me. Lord, fill my mouth with worthwhile stuff and nudge me when I've said enough. So, I'm good. I hear I have an amen corner back there. I brought with me Mark Hicks and many others' book, The Fillmore Study Bible, the New Testament, because as you know, many of the New Thought teachings, and particularly Unity teachings, are based on the teachings of Jesus the Christ. And so bear with me, because I'm going to share with you some of those teachings today. But before I do, just want to get your appetite whetted for this. There was a young girl. I taught Sunday school here at Unity Village for quite a few years, and I taught at Unity of Baltimore before that. And when I started at Unity Temple, I taught at Unity Temple. And I taught Sunday school for probably 20 years before I joined the choir. I wanted to sing. I wanted to learn how to sing, so I No? Oh, okay. All right. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can tell some traveler that she's going wrong, then my living will not be in vain. Then my living will not be in vain. Then my living will not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living will not be in vain. So, and my father's. So the night
Trade
before-
you.
Thank you. My father was murdered on Christmas Eve, 1976. I was 25, my father was 60. And I was home from Maryland. My husband's in the military. I worked for the Army and at Aberdeen Proving Ground. He was stationed in the Marine Corps detachment there. And we were home because my father had been asking me to come home for Christmas, and he would call every single day. I'm the baby of the family, 10 years younger than my sister, 11 years younger than my brother, and the only one that ever lived away from the time since they moved from Louisiana to Kansas. And so the night, my mother said my father could sing, and I'd never heard him sing. When he wasn't working hard, he was drinking and playing hard. So I never heard him sing. He also never went to church with us. And my mother told me that in Louisiana, he was in church every single Sunday, and that he knew the Bible so well that he could recite every book backwards, and he could tell you what they were about. Now, I never heard any of this because my father, who was very funny, whether he was drinking or not, he was just naturally funny. And so one day when I was a teenager, I said, Daddy, why don't you ever go to church with me and Mama? Why do you always drop us off? He said, look, Reverend Bowen drinks more than I do on Saturday night, and I'm not going to hear him lie. He was hilarious, and he was serious. He wasn't laughing. I was laughing, but he was right, you know. So I want to tell you this little story about when I taught Sunday school. I was always learning from the children. I learned more from them than they ever learned from me. So this little girl was in her class, elementary school, and they were doing lessons on animals. And this is not my story, but it always mesmerized me because the great children say the darndest things. Remember Art Linkletter's house party? Some of you are gray like me, you remember that. You may be hiding your gray, but you know who you are. And so children do, and they can teach you lessons. So this little girl was in her class in school, and the teacher was teaching her about whales. And she said that whales, have pleats in their throats, and the pleats sift out the krill and the plankton, which is their food. So the little girl said, well, can whales swallow people? And the teacher said, no, they can't. I just told you, their throats aren't big enough. Well, my teacher in Sunday school, Miss Campbell, said that Jonah was swallowed by a whale. And the teacher was getting very frustrated with this argument with this little girl, so she said, look, like I told you, whales can't swallow people. She says, well, when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask Jonah if he was swallowed by a whale. And the teacher said, well, what if he didn't go to heaven? And she said, well, you ask him. Kids say the dumbest things. You all know about the 12 powers, and so I thought I'd exhibit it today. The power for this month of May is what? Power. And the color is purple. And the location is the back of the throat. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it, who love it will eat its fruit. So, we hear that old expression, you're going to eat those words. That's exactly what that means. And so we study this, and the disciple is Philip. Right. So Charles Fillmore, when Emma Curtis Hopkins taught the teachers of New Thought this idea that we each are born with these 12 innate powers in the 12 gangliotic nerve centers in the body. Then Charles took it a little bit further, along with Ernest and everybody else. They started looking deeper at this. What does this mean? So Charles thought, well, okay, we've got 12 months of the year, so it must be related to one of the 12 disciples for each month. And if there is such a thing as this, these 12 powers in the body, it must be related to a certain part of the body temple. And so that's where this throat for the power of this month comes from. And you know, we all, and Philip, of course, Philip, the word in Greek, Philip means horsepower, or yeah, so it's all about power. And so when you think about it, we all emit auras. I've not knowingly been able to read auras, but some people can, and some of you in this room probably can. And you know, we used to wear these mood rings, and they would tell, you know, if it was bright green, you were really happy and cheerful, and if you were looking for a boyfriend and he had on a mood ring, you kind of tell what kind of guy he was. You might want to avoid him if that mood ring was always dark, right? So that's an energy that we emit. And energy, when you can look at it through a powerful microscope, or you can read auras, you see that energy field as a color. And so Charles Fillmore and others decided that each power is related to a color. Purple represents not only power, but passion. So when you think about the purple passion plant, my mother used to say that I couldn't grow anything. I can kill a silk flower. But she had purple passions all lined in the dining room window, and they all were just gorgeous. She gave me a purple passion, and well, I'll just say it had an early funeral. So, you know, I think about how humorous it is and how funny it is when we can think about truth and we can laugh about things. You know that the biggest joke of our time right now is that computers have started asking us if we're robots. So that's kind of strange. So I want to talk to you today about this teaching of Jesus Christ. Now, first of all, the teachings that we read about are in three ways. Precepts, which are instructions, guidelines for how to live your life more effectively. Miracles, which are unexpected events that happen. And many of those miracles were not performed by Jesus, but by the person who was asking for the miracle, like the bleeding woman. And what did he say when she touched his garment? Daughter, your faith has healed you. He never took credit for that. But the Pharisees and the Sadducees were trying out to get him because they thought that he was just taking credit for everything that was, you know, of course, mainly it was a political thing. We see that today, right? We see all of this played over and over again. This book we call the Bible, this anthology, this library of 66 books is about the evolution of human consciousness. It's our story. So I love stories, and as my soror introduced me, I love storytelling, always have. I love to listen to good stories, and I love to tell stories. And the Bible is full of these stories we call allegories. Stories with a hidden meaning. And when I was growing up in the Baptist church, I didn't understand all the meanings that I now understand through my New Thought and Unity teachings. But these meanings go deep for us. So here I'm going to talk about a parable. So that was the third way that Jesus taught, in parables. And this particular parable is the parable of the sheep and the goats. And I'm going to ask you a question. What are you? Are you sheep? Are you goats? You don't have to answer that, but I think you'll figure it out. So in this particular parable, which is in Matthew, the 25th chapter, the 31st through the 46th verse, Jesus is coming back. Now, people in my, where I come from, they think there's going to be this great big second coming and Jesus the man is going to appear. But we know that the second coming is the word. And when we learn the word and we apply the word, we have experienced a resurrection and an ascension. So here is Jesus. He's coming back, and I'm going to put this in today's vernacular. He's trying to get the dudes to figure out how to apply what he's been telling them all along, and they seem to think that he was just some magician that was going to climb down from the cross and save the Roman Empire, because that's what they thought. He'd been doing all these other magic tricks. Why can't he save himself? So, they were like human beings. We were trying to figure it out literally. What is all this about? So he's appearing in different ways in different places. And in this case, he appears and he says, I'm going to separate the nations like a shepherd separates the sheep. I'm going to put the sheep on my right hand and the goats on my left hand. Okay? What does that mean? I'm going to put the sheep on my right hand and the goats on my left hand. Well, when we think about right, we think of righteous. The word righteous means right use of your thinking. And when you're in your right mind, and you're experiencing right use of your thinking, you're aligning your 12 powers. But when you're not in your right mind, the goat in you, and this is not the goat, the greatest of all times, like Kobe Bryant, or I'm not talking about those kind of goats, but the goat in you, that stubbornness, that I'm going to do it my way. I don't need to pray about this. I can handle this. I know God's got this, but I think I can do this myself. And that's our goat. And guess what? What are you? At times, we're both. We're both. So metaphysically, the sheep are always, they're herd animals. They like to work together. They're a team. No, now, there is another parable about the lost sheep. That's another one. I'm not going to talk about that today. But the sheep work together, and it represents in us humility, compassion, familial. You know, we are a family. Sheep operate like family. Now, the goats, on the other hand, can be egotistical. Have you ever been around a goat? Have you ever been to a petting zoo or something? You see, don't go near those goats, because they will actually butt you for no apparent reason, but they have control of their environment. They're as the goats in us, we can be egotistical, we can be self-centered. Now, maybe I'm reading my own mail. You know, let me just put this in an I. I can be egotistical, and I can be self-centered, and I can be compassionate, and I can show humility. There are two sides. Are you sheep? Are you goats? And this is something to question whenever we're going through a challenge. How am I showing up right now? Am I showing up with humility and generosity and compassion? I read a report, a survey recently. The 2025 Gallup survey said that loneliness is an epidemic. Now, it was really an epidemic during COVID, and now they're saying it has continued to progress. That 1 in 5 adults experience severe mental illness because of loneliness. They experience anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, anger, resentment, results of loneliness. Mothers of young children, adults under 30, elderly are the largest populations experiencing loneliness. Now, sheep don't appear to experience loneliness because they gather around with like minds, right? They're gathered around with their kindred spirits. They're all together, and they're following the shepherd that's guiding them. We kind of go off on our own things sometimes in our thinking, and if we allow ourselves to do that, the goat in us takes our thinking to a place where we really don't need to go. It takes affirmative prayer and affirmation to maintain that sheep consciousness. That's why we practice affirmative prayer and affirmations. According to the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, sheep represent the natural flow of consciousness from spirit, purity, innocence, obedience to truth, humility, and generosity. What are you? Sheep or goats? Positive thoughts on the right hand. The goats, on the other hand, represent resistance and opposition. It's the phase of our personality when we resist the truth and rely solely on the ego. Stubborn thoughts on the left hand. You remember you probably heard, well, in Matthew 6:3, Jesus is saying, do good, but do it in secrecy. In secrecy. And we can put this in today's vernacular. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, right? So when you do good, don't brag about it. You don't need your left hand to sit over there and doubt and say, oh, you don't need to do that. That person should get a job. You don't want to give them a water bottle or hand them anything out the window. You don't know who that is. You know, you shouldn't do that. They may go buy drugs. They may go buy cigarettes. They may go buy, well, I have a philosophy about that. So the night before my father was killed, he sat me down on his lap. I hadn't sat on my father's lap since I was 10 years old. Come sit on my lap. I sat on his lap. He said, you're special and you're going places, and I wish I could live to see it. But if I don't live to see it, remember one thing, you're nobody if you're not trying to help somebody. Then he sang that song. First time ever in my life I heard my father sing. He said, if you see a drunk man on the street, you go over there and pick him up. That could be your dad over there. If you see anybody needing help, you help them. See, here's a man who he lived his life the rough way. He served in World War II. He drove ammunition trucks in the pitch black darkness behind enemy lines. He saw a lot of action. A little farm boy they owned their own acreage in Louisiana. He gets shipped off to war. He had a 5th grade education, but was a very smart man. He never met a stranger, never. When they moved to Kansas, they brought Louisiana with them. I would, as a little girl, I would think people were relatives that were living in our house. And so what would happen is, after Dad got off on the night shift at General Motors, he stopped at the nearby watering hole, if you know what I mean. That was his first stop. And if he saw somebody that looked a little destitute, he'd ask him, hey, what are you doing here? You had any food today? You need a place to stay? Come on, go home with me. Put him in his car, bring him home. Tell my mother, Mary Lee, get up and fix this man, warm up some dinner for this man. She'd get out of bed, warm up dinner, because he always carried dinner in his black pail lunchbox. He had to have full dinner with cake, homemade pie, whatever. And so she'd get up and warm up the food. We had a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom bungalow because my brother and sister were already grown and gone. So it was just me and them. And downstairs in this basement, concrete basement, they had cordoned off a room with a curtain, and they had a bed and a dresser down there and a rug on the floor. And anybody who needed a place to stay or needed food, they had 3 meals a day, never any money exchanged. He really believed it. And here's a man, you don't have to go to church. You are the church, right? You are the church. You don't need a building. The church is where you are. Here's a man who knew what church was, and he knew how to church. He knew how to help somebody, and he never met a stranger. And that reminds me of a story that I read recently. You may have heard this story about these 3 strangers. This woman looks out her window, and she sees these three strangers on her lawn. And she goes outside. It's really cold that day, and they don't look like, they don't have on coats. And she says, can I help you? I just made a pot of soup. I got a fireplace going. You're welcome to come in and get warm and have something to eat. No. Is your husband home? She says, no, but he'll be home soon. We'll come in when we'll come back. Tell your husband, come see us. So the husband comes home and says, honey, why'd you let those men sit out there freezing on the lawn? Why don't you invite them in? Did you offer them some soup and come in and get warm? She said, I did, but they said, wait till you came home. Well, let's go out there and see what this is about. So they go out and they talk to him, and they introduce themselves, and one's name was Wisdom, one's name was Success, and one's name was Love. And so he said, well, come on in and warm yourselves, and we got plenty of food. Nope, you can only invite one of us. So he and his wife were trying to figure out which one to invite. They go back in the house, and they're trying to decide which one to invite. And the husband says, I've been waiting for that promotion at work, and it's going to take a while, and we really got some bills we need to pay. How about we invite Wealth? We need wealth. And the wife said, no, if you had success, you would have the wealth you need. You just need to be more successful. Their little boy hears them and comes into the room, and he says, I think you're looking at this the wrong way. You need to invite love. We need more love in this house. So they take their son's advice, and they go outside, and they say, okay, Love, follow us. Love gets up from the ground. He starts walking, and the other 2 follow. And they said, wait a minute, you said only one of you could come. He said, but you picked the right one, because wherever love goes, everything else follows. That's the power of love. That's the power of love, and that's what I'm talking about when I talk about the sheep and the goats. It's about divine love. It's about unconditional love. It's about the kind of love my father and mother demonstrated to strangers. And there's scripture that says, always be kind to strangers, because you never know when you may be entertaining angels unawares. So do good. You don't need to brag about it. Let that sheep out. Do good. Nobody has to know. And that's what Jesus also told them. Don't stand and brag about what you do. Do it in secrecy. And don't expect anything in return. So how do I use this? I mentioned how my father never met a stranger. I'm the same way. We have blessing bags. You have those probably at church. And then I'm on the board for Andrea's Micah's Boutique, which is right up the street here in Lee Summit at the shopping mall. And Andrea, who owns Micah's Boutique, started a foundation for her parents, the Bob and Thelma Carnes Foundation. And she wants to do as much good as she can anonymously, but we go there and we pack these manna packs, and they're heavy, they're nice little canvas bags, drawstring backpacks, and they're full of the basic essentials that someone who is home insecure or food insecure might need. And when you see someone on the street, you roll down your window and hand them a manna pack. Well, I'm gonna tell you how good that can be, how much that can do for your soul. One day I was coming from Unity Temple on the plaza, and there's a light that's very long. I'm usually cussing at the light. Yeah, I do cuss. Those who know me know. I even did a workshop on cussing at the Gold Rush Women's Conference. And they asked me, was I going to do that again when I came back this year? Cuss words are made up words anyway. F-U-C-K is fornication under consent of the king. Did you know that? There you go. So you can do that if you want to, just say it. But anyway, so I'm at this long light, and this young man is standing on the corner with a sign. Now, I'm at this light, and it seems like it takes forever. Randy, you know, it's right there at Volker. When you come from the plaza, Main and Volker, is like, oh, this is going to be forever. Well, I rolled down my window to give him one of the bags. And he came over, and he said, I've been here for 4 hours. Nobody has stopped. Until COVID, I had a good job. He said, I lost my job, I lost my home, and I wouldn't be out here holding a sign if I didn't need help. And you're the only person who stopped. Sister, can I pray for you? That was the greatest prayer that has ever been said for me in my life. And I'm so grateful that that light didn't change. Because this young man prayed a prayer from deep down somewhere in his heart, asking God to protect me, to build a shield around me, to cover me, and that he talked about how gracious I was. And I mean, he just went on probably 2 minutes before the light changed. You never know who is the angel that might appear as someone homeless. That was the angel I needed that day. That lifted my spirits. It reminds me of a poem that I read, Art thou lonely, O my brother? Share thy little with another. Stretch a hand to one unfriended, and your loneliness has ended. There's no reason we should have an epidemic of loneliness in this country. We need to let our sheep out, let that inner sheep out, and give what you can without expecting anything in return, without even attachments, because I feel like if I'm going to be attached to what you're going to do with that bag or what you're going to do with that dollar, then I'm not giving you the dollar. I'm still holding on to it. It's not my business. That's God's business. Maybe this person needs that drink because they're sleeping under a bridge to get them through the night. Lord knows if I was sleeping under a bridge, I don't even drink, but I think I'd start. Or that, cigarette. Maybe even, they need some pot or something. I mean, I don't know what their life is. There's a saying, if you don't know my glory, you might know my glory, but you don't know my story. So we often judge people based on our own attitudes toward life, whether we're a sheep or a goat. Think about the many acts of kindness that we don't do. And that's what Jesus was saying in Matthew 25:35. He says to the disciples, now remember, he's back to teach them some more lessons before he has to leave for good. And these are all stories. So take the meaning for yourself. Don't take it seriously or literally. Take the meaning for yourself, the hidden meaning. So he says to them, for I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you came to see about me. I was in prison, and you visited me. And the disciples, who had been following him around for a long time, said, Master, we never saw any of this. When was it that you were hungry and thirsty and needed clothing and sick and in prison, and we did anything? What are you talking about? He said, because what you do to the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you do to me. And then he said, those who do not heed that word, what they do not do, what you do not do to the least of my brothers and sisters, you do not do to me. That has carried me for a long time. Those words of my father that night have been my solid ground, my foundation. And as a matter of fact, Grady Wayne Sr. never knew that my name, Sandra, means helper of mankind. He said, you're nobody if you're not trying to help somebody. Where would I be if I didn't have my name? So this is all about the power of love. One random act of kindness, one never meet a stranger, one visible expression of unconditional love at a time can change this world. Can change this world. On the back table, and I forgot to bring it up here, on the back table you'll find, I put little bags together, they're purple, and in it there's a little sheep, and there's a purple heart. I want you to keep that Thank you, Reverend Martha. She's going to pass those out. And there's a sheet of paper back there. Can you bring that to me? Thank you, Juan. Okay, so I hope I have enough because this is really, really important. Really important. There was a young man by the name of, yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, this young man's name is, his last name is Kinney. I think his name was Frederick Kinney, I'm not sure. But anyway, he was asked some things about his father. And he went to his mother and said, what did my father do that made him so popular? And she tells the story of how this poem came to be. So he said that in the 60s, their family lived in a place called Cheviot, Ohio. And there was a law on the books that said black people could not be seen at night in that town. When Johnny Coleman was here on these grounds, that was a Missouri law. Missouri was a slave state. And so for a long time, there were still those remnants of slavery. And so he said his father went to and some church members went to the city council in Cheviot and said, we want that law taken off the books. The city council said no, because we don't have any black people in this town. And if any black person is seen in this town after dark, they're surely up to no good. His father and his friends went to a nearby town. This town is west of Cincinnati. So they went to some activists, some black activists in west of their town, and asked them, would they move to Cheviot? They moved to Cheviot. This is a true story. They moved to Cheviot, and then his father went back to this, and his friends went back to the city council and said, okay, you got to change the law because now we have black residents in Cheviot. They changed the law, but they weren't happy about it, if you know what I mean by them not being happy about it. So he got very angry, and he moved from Cheviot, moved his family from Cheviot. Before he did, he gave them a copy of this poem he had written during the early years of the Civil Rights Movement. This is why we have problems in our country and our world today, because too many people are goats and they look the other way and they go off on their own and I got mine, you got yours. We're really going to practice the power of divine love, the real power of love. This is a good example. 6 humans trapped by happenstance in bleak and bitter cold. Each one possessed a stick of wood, or so the story is told. The dying fire in need of logs, the first man held his back. For of the faces round the fire, he noticed one was black. The next man looking across the way saw one not of his church and couldn't bring himself to give the fire his stick of birch. The third one sat in tattered clothes. He gave his coat a hitch. Why should his log be put to use to warm the idle rich? The rich man just sat back and thought of the wealth he had in store and how to keep what he had earned from the lazy, shiftless poor. The black man's face bespoke revenge as the fire passed from his sight, for all he saw in his stick of wood was a chance to spite the white. The last man of this forlorn group did not accept for gain. Giving only to those who gave was how he played the game. Their logs held tight in death's still hands was proof of human sin. They didn't die from the cold without. They died from the cold within. A sheep is not going to abandon the other sheep. They're going to stay together. A goat may just say, I got mine, you got yours. What are you? In the New Thought movement, we're taught that everything is in consciousness, that we create our world from the inside out. The 5 principles are that there is one presence and one power active in our lives and in the universe, God, the good omnipotent. And the second one is because you and I are made in the image and after the likeness of that one power and one presence, we are as good as. We have goodness in us. Now, we don't always practice it because the third principle is we create our experiences by what we choose to think, what we feel, and what we believe. The fourth principle is in order to achieve that high level of consciousness, you got to turn within. This is the source. You got to go to the source. Charles Fillmore called that headquarters. Go to headquarters. Seek the truth from within. So through affirmative prayer and meditation, denials and affirmation, we find the truth within us. We connect with our source. And I believe the fifth principle is the best. We live the truth we know. And as Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. We live the truth we know. So I'm going to close with one of my favorites about love. And hopefully you'll hear that resonating in your mind. That sheep in you is going to just really come alive with this poem by Emmett Fox. Love is by far the most important thing of all. It is the golden gate of paradise. Pray for the understanding of love and meditate upon it daily. It casts out fear. It is a fulfilling of the law. It covers a multitude of sins. Love is absolutely invincible. There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no disease that enough love will not heal, no door that enough love will not open, no gulf that enough love will not bridge, no wall that enough love will not throw down, no sin that enough love will not redeem. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. If only you and I could love enough, we would be the happiest and most powerful beings in the world. It takes practice. We have to consider where we are in this moment. Am I behaving as a sheep or am I behaving as a goat? We have a choice. Thank you.
And I love her, so give her another hand. Just as we're leaving, I'd like for us to be reminded that we truly have the capacity, to be that sheep that she was referring to, because do you know that you have a superpower, and love is that superpower? I invite you to close your eyes just for about a minute or so and to listen. Bill? Stay in the space. Okay. I'm going to invite you to open your eyes because what you are to hear is not going to be heard this evening. And perhaps we'll get to hear tomorrow for simply a reminder that love is our superpower. And so we've had a lot of different ways to know that over the last 2 days. So we're okay, and we know that tomorrow is another day where you might hear it in a way that's different, but just reinforcing what we know, that love is our superpower. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Jackie. And thank you to Carla and Sandra. Thank you for lifting us up tonight. Has anybody seen that movie, The Secret Garden? It's about a little boy in a wheelchair, and he never gets to go outside. And then suddenly this girl starts showing up outside, and one day she rolls him out into the garden, and he's amazed by the birds and the flowers and the trees and the animals. And he turns to his friend and says, "Who is it that's making this magic?" And she says, "You are." So thank you for making magic, all of us together. We've created a wonderful day together. So remember, we'll be inside in the morning at 8 o'clock in here for the meditation. And then we have 2 panels in the morning, one on social justice and one on our new Hubs Honoring Universal Beliefs program that I know you'll want to hear about. And then we're doing our ribbon cutting, grand opening of the archives that were moved here not too long ago. And tomorrow night we'll be in the Fillmore Chapel for the authentic, wonder-filled spiritual experience that you don't want to miss. But I talked to Jeremy at the cafe a while ago, and he's still going to keep it open for us tonight. So we told them 9 o'clock. We might be a little early, but I hope you'll join us over there for a little refreshment and fellowship. And if not, we'll see you in the morning. Have a wonderful night, and thank you.